could have given up, but you didn't. You could have stopped believing, but you didn't. You could have kept living their expectations, but you decided to make this life your own. And in turn, you're here. Hello, everyone. Today we're meeting Brannon Beliso. He's a speaker, entrepreneur, and also an influencer. Hello, Brannon. Nick, thank you for joining us today.
Good morning. I am grateful to be here with you.
Yes. So let's start a conversation by diving into your personal journey of becoming the person you are today. How did you discover your true passion in life? How did it start for you? What was the turning point?
I don't think there's any one singular moment. I think it's a constant evolution to be a better version of myself. But I realized it early in my 20s because I lived from a victim mindset, having grown up when money was short. I was in a foster home for 4 or 5 years of my life. My father was extremely physically abusive as well as mentally. I was molested at 8. I was molested at 12. And so that mindset of being a child that was victimized, which wasn't my choice, manifested itself into adulthood. And so many times in my 20s, I saw myself doing inappropriate behavior, hurting myself emotionally, mentally, physically, and not understanding why. Why would I do that if I love myself? And so that was the first true realization that I was no longer this kid who was a victim. I was now a full-grown adult who needed to take accountability for their life.
So you went through a lot of challenges, but it also made you stronger and brought you to the point where you are today. So what helped you to kind of like get in touch with yourself and start doing the inner work that helped you to release that trauma and emotional attachment to what happened? Is there like a practice that you would suggest others to also look into that helped you in your journey?
Absolutely. And I think the biggest thing is growing up with that type of trauma, it's easy to feel ashamed.
Right.
And I recognized I was a victim, I was a child, that there's good shame and there's bad shame. And that was bad shame. So when you embrace the things we fear the most, the things that cause us the most trauma, the only way to heal them is by loving them and embracing them like a best friend. So once I started going through that process, and I did everything. I sat in a Zen center staring at a white wall for hours at a time. I walked the desert to Joshua Tree alone. When they say never walk the desert alone, therapy was a big one for me. I did silent meditative retreats. I sat in synagogues, Buddhist temples, everything, because I knew I was committed. There was something more for me in life than just simply this vicious cycle. A victim, being a victim. And so number one is gratitude. I think waking up every day and in my morning ritual, which is always the same, and I recommend that to everybody, create a morning ritual that is exactly the same, because what we're trying to create is a state of mind, right? We want to be optimal. We're not in control of this, a lot of the stuff going on around us, but we are in control of this and this. And the more we can master ourselves, through habits, which are just, if you consistently execute these habits, Anna, the potential is unlimited.
Right. And also, like you mentioned, we have to embrace who we are, what we've been through, with everything, all the experience that, made us at this point right now. It could be something painful to look into, but still, we kind of we have to own everything that we are, and with knowing that we also have the opportunity to change in this present moment right now, because if we take responsibility, first of all, of creating our life, of creating the experiences, then we can change it. But it has to come to realization, like self-awareness in the first place, that we can do it for ourselves. Because a lot of times people also stuck in the victim mindset, and they keep reliving those experiences in their mind, and they bring in to them suffering every single time they do that. But they need to kind of release that. But like you said, coming to the place where you can love it and you have it as a part of you, and in that way you kind of make peace with it and you're ready to move on. I think that's important part for people to notice and to look into, and also develop practices that bring them to that self-awareness. Like you said, gratitude. And also, what are your thoughts on meditation and incorporate it as a daily habit as well? Do you think this is something that would help to cultivate that peaceful stillness mindset that, that will help us to see that vicious negative cycle of thinking that we're in and we're not recognizing it, which is what's running our life, really?
Well, I think the mind controls the body and it begins and ends there. I mean, the mind is governed by the heart, and so I think they all are valuable. I've meditated. I do martial arts. I own a couple of martial arts schools here in San Francisco. So meditation has always been a big part of my life. And truly, the journey is inward, not outward. In our culture here, in our Western culture, materialism is big, bigger house, bigger car, more likes, more views, on social media, things of that nature. And that's a bottomless pit. That's needy and greedy because it's never fulfilled, because that's not where fulfillment is. True fulfillment is inward, but that journey's lonely. Are you willing to pull back your own covers, Anna, and look at that and go, oh, I don't like that. I need to work on that. I need to, do some real work on that. And see, but we grow up in a culture from going from a victim to a codependent. And all you do is put the distraction from, oh, poor me, I was a victim, to let me, continue to be a victim by being a codependent in this relationship or this job that I don't like, or situations. So I know for me, meditation's been huge, but also journaling is a big one. I love writing because when things can just sit in my mind and they just go over and over and over like this loop, I can create this really toxic mindset and create something that's not even truth. And that's what's crazy. We've all been there. We've thought something about somebody. We knew it to be truth, only to find out we were totally wrong, right? We're totally wrong, Anna. I'm going, oh, wow, that's the power of the mind. And so recognizing that, but I can't touch it. I can touch this coffee cup and say, this is a coffee cup. I think, again, because we live in such a materialistic culture, we look at things like meditation. It's just way too out there, but it's not. Meditation to me is every day, all the time.
Right. And also we have to prioritize our mental and physical health in the first place in order to make that time for ourselves, because those daily habits, it has to be done consistently. And you also touched upon it, with us just trying and, not seeing the result right away, it's not going to help. We have to be committed to doing it every single day for a certain amount of time, and at least being month in to see any type of result or benefit. Because if we are just looking for a quick fix, it's not going to encourage us. So we have to have that type of kind of like look for a longer outcome and know that it will take time, but at the same time we have to dedicate time consistently every single day. And like you mentioned, martial arts, I think for a lot of people, it's a good way to kind of get themselves into knowing who they are, and it helps to cultivate the right, I would say, like mindset also, because it gives you the opportunity to be, coached also, because a lot of times people not willing to listen, not willing to go through failures, and it kind of like helps them to see what they can do, really just starting on the mat, but also kind of like take it as a life lesson as well. Is that right?
Well, always. I mean, life is one constant lesson, and that lesson, and through the learned experiences, we strive to be a better version of ourselves. I mean, I'm 61 years old, And if I behave this way at 61, when I was 20, that doesn't help. So each milestone in our life is an opportunity. Like, I'm probably more happy than I've ever been in my life because I know who I am. I know what my values are. I know what I like. I know what I don't like. But learning is always that foundation. I think, again, the challenge with that in our culture, we want instant gratification. We want it right now. I mean, look at everything from drugs to plastic surgery to spending. I mean, everything's instant gratification. And I'll tell anybody at 61 years old, slow and steady wins the race. Slow is the new fast. But it comes with that security, that knowingness, with being very authentic with yourself. Like when somebody says to me, you're so full of yourself. I say, yes, I am. Who else should I be full of? Right? You're so self-centered. That's a good place. If the self is centered, then I'm going to make better choices. I'm going to take right actions, and I'll be a more balanced, happier person. But again, the culture that we live in doesn't perpetuate that. So we have to manifest that ourselves. That's why it's called self-discovery, self-awareness. But you have to love the self enough to make that investment.
That's true. And also when people say you're selfish to do good things for yourself, to take self-care, and that's just the other way around, really. Like, they look at it as a negative thing, which is not, which is actually has to be a priority for each one of us. Because if we take care of ourselves in the first place, everything else ripples out and reflects in the physical world in terms of relationship, personal, professional, and it's just gonna be a better living. But without us loving ourselves enough to give that time, to give that care, nothing will happen. And a lot of times, people struggle with that self-worth. They don't feel like they're worthy of having certain things in life, of taking care of themselves, how they can cultivate that type of connection with who they are, and really understand that they have to be a priority.
Well, I think, Anna, there's some amazing cliches in the world, and they've stood the test of time because they are true. Right? Be comfortable being uncomfortable, right? I love being uncomfortable. That's a good place to be, because the other cliche, complacency is the enemy. Mm-hmm. And there's one borrowed from the 12-step programs. It works when you work it. So work it because you are worth it. You have to decide that you are worth it, because the only person who could do the work is you. The only one who can make the change is you. But again, that victim mindset, I can blame that person for me not, having the life that I want. I can blame the economy. I can blame the pandemic as it was. I can blame so many things, but that doesn't change anything. And so I find people tend to sit there because it's easier. What's even scarier is, I've known people in abusive relationships, and they stay in it because it's familiar. And I would ask, why would you allow somebody to hurt you like that? Well, because I know what to expect. Wow. Wow, that's scary. That's really scary. Talk about being a prisoner of your own mindset, yet it perpetuates itself every day. Whether it's addiction, depression, anxiety, not a chemical imbalance. That's a different conversation. Somebody suffers from a chemical imbalance and they need medication for depression, anxiety. Please, people misquote me on that often. I'm talking about self-inflicted depression, right? And depression is fundamentally living in the past. You play that tape over and over and you want to change the past, and you cannot. You cannot. So you want to take that past, that learned experience, and bring it in real time in the present. That's why the present is called the present, because it is a gift. Or anxiety. Anxiety is, projecting into the future. That's even scarier. So I really want to be here right now with you. This is all that matters to me. And when we're done, then whatever's next will be next. But I can't fully get everything I need from your words and this human engagement, this interaction of energy, if I'm not fully engaged with you. And how horrible is that? People wake up 40 years from now with a gold watch and a pension and go, what happened to my life? Right? They say as we get older, Anna, life moves faster. No, it doesn't. 1 minute is still 60 seconds. It is still in a measured time increment. 1 minute today is exactly the same as 1 minute when I was 5 years old. So what's the difference? This and this, right? So I like being 5 years old when it comes to time, because remember how long the days were when we were kids? Just time was forever, And we can do that right now at any age if we choose.
Right, but it's also hard for them to be present, being in the single moment right now, bringing the best that you can be. It's a challenge, and we need to kind of quiet our mind and not be stuck in the past with, like you said, self-inflicted depression or some kind of like negative thinking that's coming from our past experiences that still have hold on us, right? And we keep reliving them. And with us not realizing that it's running our life, we could get into a very, abusive relationship or codependent relationship where we see that familiar pattern happening again. And like you said, people feel comfortable in that. That's why they do that. But it's not good or healthy or beneficial for them in any way. But again, like with them not recognizing that it's them who kind of attracting and allowing themselves to get into that type of experiences in their future because they still live in the past. It's going to happen no matter what. But with you kind of taking control and disrupting that pattern and bringing yourself to that present moment, that's where you see more joy and fulfillment and happiness happening, because you're more aligned with, your higher self, your better version of who you can be. But you have to take responsibility and, again, give yourself compassion and love, because a lot of times we are more negative to ourselves than to other people, but we don't see it in our, self-talk that's happening on a daily basis. How can we, put ourselves down to the point that, we don't see that self-worth? And with us knowing that we're here, for a reason, we have a purpose, and we need to give ourselves the best tools and everything that's in our, control that we can give ourselves, we should focus on. Because again, who else will give it to you other than yourself? You have to take responsibility. And with you knowing that what you have right now in your life, that's of your own creation. If you don't like what you have that power to change it. And it takes time, but it will eventually bring you to the place that you are going. It starts with the inner work for sure. And I also know that it's important to kind of like be grateful, like you mentioned, and seeing that we have so many tools available right now. And every single day, if we wake up being thankful for what we have, the more will come. Don't you think so?
Well, absolutely. I grew up poor. I tell that to my wife every day. We could be in the middle of Ukraine right now. And she looks at me and goes, well, what does that have to do with anything? I said, it has to do with everything. I grew up when money was short. I wore my father's suit to my high school graduation. I live in a really nice home. I make really good money. And I'm able to do it from my purpose of helping people live their best life. And I wake up every day, and for me, it's a gift. I think that one of the things you said just a minute ago that really pops at me, people say, if you want to get there, So when I work with my clients, I'll say, okay, just be with me here. Let's be here. Well, how do I do that? Be mindful of your breath. Well, what do you mean? I breathe all the time. I want you to be mindful of your breath. Read Thich Nhat Hanh, read Dalai Lama, read any great spiritual teacher. Your breath is that life force. That breath is that thing, right? We can go without food for 40 days, water for 7, without air, you're brain dead in 3 to 4 minutes. So your breath is really important, but to do it with intent, with purpose of centering, of grounding, of gratitude is the beginning. So I said, okay, we're right here. Now let's walk over there. Right? Because you're not there yet. You want to get there. Okay, now let's stand here. Where are we? It's just another version of here. That's all that is, Anna. And that's what causes us so much dysfunction and chaos and unbalance, is that I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet. I got to keep up with the Joneses. Oh, you got that car? I need that car. You got this? So really, Dalai Lama said it so well. The person who is richest is the one who could be happiest with the least. And that's what trips me up. I still wear Converse. I still wear, I like to wear. And, you know, I don't need to wear a Rolex watch to say this is how much money I have, because money is just a manifestation of you being centered and happy. How many rich, famous people we know are unhappy, divorced, drug addicts? So once I recognize money is just a vehicle, and having grown up poor, money was a source of pain. It was a source of shame. It was a source of, what do you think? Money grows on trees? What do you think? We're made of money? Money is the root of all evil. No, people choose to be evil. Money's just a tool. So once I recognized that, the accumulation of financial wealth came much easier. But if I wasn't personally, emotionally, spiritually, mentally rooted in being balanced and the best version of myself, I would be in bad shape when money came along, really bad shape. So I understood that right away. So when I wake up every day, it's not, I'm grateful for everything I have material-wise. I'm grateful because I've found who I am, and I'm allowed to cultivate that in every relationship and every experience that, like now, being able to share this. I choose to do these because I want to share with the world that you're special, you're amazing. You just have to believe that, because I can tell you that all day long. It doesn't matter, because ultimately it's got to come from you and only you.
Right. And also we have to recognize that our own beliefs about who we are, that's what's important, not about other people's opinions of us. That doesn't matter. You can't please everybody. It's impossible. So you don't even try doing that. So just focus on who you can be today in this moment. And you have the opportunity to change and to develop yourself. And only if you kind of like see it as a priority and try to make it, every single day, just dedicate time to it. And you will see for yourself how you're going to change. Because I think the worst thing is, being at the same place a year from today. That's the worst that could happen for you. So if you see the progress along the way of your own personal development, that's the most important part. And don't, compare yourself to others. We all have different journeys we're on, right? And I have my own unique skills, gifts, and abilities that I can share with others, as it same for you. So basically every one of us have to understand that we're not comparable in that sense. And actually we have to be cheerful for others to see that they achieved something, because that's the evidence for you that you can also do it for yourself, not being envious or like trying to compete in that sense, but look at it from different perspective.
No, as the saying goes, it's always easier said than done, right?
Right.
It's always easier said than done. It's human nature to want people's approval. I want my wife to be happy with me. We always want that validation from our parents. We love it when somebody likes or comments or praises us. But it's so funny. My wife said that to me the other day. She goes, "You're your own cheerleader." I said, "Yes, I am. I am." He said, "Nobody needs to compliment you." I said, "No, they don't. But it's always nice. It's just nice. It's nice to hear that once in a while. But really, I am my own cheerleader. And that's a conscious choice, right? But again, you're so egotistical. You're so self-centered. You're so selfish. And really, if we were all selfish, we'd be more selfless with each other. And we'd be more giving to one another. We'd be more empathetic. We'd be more compassionate. All those skill sets that we choose not to invest in because we haven't invested them in ourselves. It's so easy to be grateful for my challenges that I face every day because I'm a grateful person. It's easy to be more empathetic with you or anybody that I'm blessed to interact with because I'm more empathetic with myself. But people don't see value in that. I think we'd really lessen the pain if we seek to understand versus being understood all the time. right? But we think if we're understood, it's going to fix the behaviors that I personally want to change. No, it doesn't. All it does is pacify me for the moment, right? If somebody understands, oh, I understand how you feel, that doesn't change anything. So what? You understand how I feel. So what? Unless I do the real work, that feeling will never change into something positive where I not only impact my life, Anna, where I can really impact the world and make a difference.
Yes, definitely. And we have to be our own cheerleaders, and that validation should be internal, not external. And again, like you said, it's good to hear praise or compliments, but it's like an extra, like a bonus, I would say, on top of the cake, right? But you have to cultivate that environment for yourself where you can flourish and just really, reflect everything that you have towards yourself, all those emotions that you just meant, compassion, love, everything will reflect to others as well, and it will be easy for you to interact and connect on that level. And again, like, we have to think about what's important. We have to focus on what matters, not be distracted with, right now, like social media, TV, whatever. People just living kind of like in automatic pilot, doing what they do, but sometimes they don't know why they're doing that, right? They don't know why in that relationship, why in that type of career, and it doesn't bring them fulfillment, and they feel like they stuck, right? And they don't know where to start, like what should bring them this type of joy. But, like, I think we always have to be mindful of what we do on a daily basis, and what can I start doing that really gives me that joyful experience. It could start like as a hobby, but you don't know if it could grow into something bigger, because with you just doing 9 to 5 and you're not satisfied or fulfilled and not giving yourself time to do something that you like, you would never, get to the point where you are happy, really. But what do you think people can start in terms of like finding their own passion in life?
Well, I think number one, the Dalai Lama says this one too, and I love reading his stuff, that it is easy to be great when things are going your way.
Yeah.
Can you be great when life is difficult? That's what builds character. That's what helps us become a better person. You witness it at social media all day long. My life is amazing. Look at me. It's amazing. No, it's not. We will suffer. People will die. We will have financial hardship. We will have relationship breakups. That's all part of life. But if you're coming from a very balanced place, I think happiness is way overrated, by the way. If I'm a balanced whole person, I will embrace hardship with the same equality as I embrace bliss. See, we put so much weight. I don't want to suffer. I don't want to suffer. I don't want to. So drugs, alcohol, social media distractions, TV binging, people do that, where if you look at a lot of other cultures, suffering is part of every day. It's not a big deal. It's just part of it. And that's what I love about the Disney films. They always have death in them. Watch The Lion King, watch Frozen. They take everything in life. And that's, funny in animated cartoons like Disney, but they get it. I think that's what makes the happiness so wonderful, is when we go through challenges and we get to the other side of it. Because like that cliche goes, this too shall pass. So whatever suffering you might be feeling today, this too shall pass. Whatever bliss you're feeling today, right now, this too shall pass, because it's not sustainable. Life is just not that way. So when I have a challenge, I say to myself, which moves me from victim to victor, this is not happening to me. This is happening for me. That alone is that, boom, that light switch goes off. And now it's like, great, we have a challenge. We have something to learn here. But why does bad things always happen to me? There's that victim mindset, that shame spiral, right? That you go down that road. So I believe every day these different messages of learning are given to us, Anna, and they are gifts. They are gifts. The challenge is we are not present. We are not in the moment. So life is a series of missed opportunities. Every day we can discover our purpose. And my purpose could be teaching a 4-year-old martial arts. My purpose could be speaking at Meta. My purpose could be just simply sitting at my daughter's soccer game, not saying anything because it embarrasses her, but her just knowing I'm sitting there.
Yeah.
Because I like to cheer her and stuff, and it embarrasses her. She's almost 12. So I've learned, okay, I understand. I'll just sit here quietly. To me, it's that simple because I'm here with me. So whether it's standing on a platform in Germany waiting for a train or sitting at my son's basketball practice, I'm good. I'm good because I'm good with me. And I know that sounds weird, but it's not. Home is where the heart is. You've heard that one, right? Because everywhere I go, the one constant is me. I'm always with me. So if I don't genuinely like me, warts and all, imperfections and all, challenges and all, I will truly suffer self-inflicted suffering because we all suffer from the condition of being human. We're not perfect. We'll never be perfect. Am I always happy? No. Do I have the ability to change that mindset in a heartbeat? Yes. But it's a system of checks and balances. Whether it's Bob Marley playing Three Little Birds, makes my family nuts because my morning ritual is the same. And I'm up just like, hey, how you doing, everybody? Let's go. Let's go. And they're like, Papa, chill out, Papa. Dial it back a little bit. But I need to create that state, Anna. I need to be in that state. Tony Robbins talks about it. A lot of great life coaches. You got to be in that state. So everybody discover, what is that state for you? What is it? What is it? I don't know, but that's the beauty of life. It's your journey. It's your space. It's your race. Empower yourself by committing to it and figuring it out. That's.
No, definitely. And there's also joy in just simple things in life. And we have to be open-minded and be grateful for the opportunities or challenges that we meet along the way, because we can always learn from it, and we can always find something insightful for us to kind of like go to that next level of development. So even it could be if we look at it as a struggle, we can go down that spiral. But if we look at it as an opportunity to grow, it's just a different perspective. And again, it's all beneficial for us. And life, like you said, it's like a roller coaster. You're going to be up and down, and it's just the way it is. We just have to accept it and embrace it and be grateful for it. And this is our path of becoming, a greater version of us. And it's just a beautiful way of seeing us becoming somebody, who we always wanted to be, and watching ourselves doing that, and, cultivating values, like human values of a greater value for everybody, not just us, but it's a kind of like we given back to humanity of becoming the better version of who we are.
I mean, that ripple effect, like you said, right? That ripple, if we take care of ourselves, it ripples out into the world. I think balance for me is the yin and the yang, right? I don't shy away from my suffering. I embrace it like a best friend. I don't shy away from my inadequacies. I'm not embarrassed because I'm inadequate. I'm human. I will be inadequate at times. I will be a terrible listener at times, but it doesn't mean I'm not the best version of me at that time. That's the best I can be in that moment. So I think that's the big thing. We're so good at beating ourselves up, but the yin to the yang, we're also the best at being indifferent and doing nothing. So that's scary too. So that ability to be present in that moment, it starts with, we see it everything now with social media, the toxicity, the negativity, everything that's coming out. So, social media is being sued. Mark Zuckerberg saying we need to slow down on AI. You don't need a smartphone to teach you you're smart. You don't need a Fitbit to tell you you're fit. Once you can unplug from that, everything changes. And it needs to be a balance. I love my phone. My phone tells me what goes on next. It's how I turn on my Tesla, right? That's what the phone does. But I grew up without cell phones. I'm 61. I grew up without personal computers. There is something really magical about common sense. And we're so entitled because there's no real learned experience. There's no trial and error. I just can look at my phone and go, hey, tell me this, right? And my phone will give me the answer. That doesn't mean I know it. I can only know something through learned experience. And that's trial and error, experimentation. That's falling, that's getting up. But that's what makes human being, the wonderful journey of being human. Don't be afraid to be ugly. Don't be afraid, because on the other side of ugly is beauty. And in ugliness, we find beauty. I mean, they both all go together. But we put so much weight on, Vogue magazine, MTV, whatever. That's so silly, because we're each special and unique. And then they say the yin to the yang, you're nothing special. Nobody gives a crap. That may be true, but I believe I'm special. I believe what I say has purpose and meaning. So I will wake up every day and I will fulfill that. But it's hard, because sometimes the most toxic people are the ones closest to us, right? And once I recognize, and you use that word a lot, Anna, control. You know what I realize? I have no control. I have zero control. Try not going to the bathroom for 24 hours. And somebody said that to me the other day. Well, if you accept the war in Ukraine, then you're an advocate for it. I said, no, I'm not. No, no, no. Quite the opposite. I accept that's what's going on. I don't approve of it. I don't think it's right. But through the acceptance, I can impact the world here within my reach. I can't change I was molested. Can I accept it? Absolutely. That's where the healing began. Right? Can I change that I was in a foster home? No. But through that acceptance, I found peace. I found a pathway to a better me, to healing, to all those things. So I think it's convenient to dismiss people's feelings or viewpoints because they don't suit our agenda or our own personal narrative. And once we get to our truer self, and that's hard, are you willing to pull back your own covers, Anna? Like I said at the beginning of this, and go, whoa, I don't like that about me. But once I really start doing that, I'm more accepting of others. I'm more kind to others. I'm more gentle, but I got to do it with myself first, time and time again,
Of course. And also, I feel like acceptance and forgiveness is important. You have to forgive yourself and others, whoever, did something bad to you, and your own experiences of, going through that, because you can't beat yourself up. You're a different person now. What happened, happened, right? And you have to make peace with that in order to move forward. So that's important. And that really gives you freedom, and you feel like now you can breathe again.
Yeah. That's beautiful. You can breathe again. I can visualize that. And it's so powerful, Anna. And I think that's the biggest thing. Is I did a podcast not too long ago over in the UK, and he said to me, well, you're 61 years old. What would you tell your 20-year-old self? And I thought for a moment, and I took a breath, and I said, nothing. What? Because I'm not going to mess up that 20-year-old's game. He needs to be a knucklehead. He needs to make mistakes. He needs to go out and party. He needs to be in college. Why would I want to put all that wisdom of 61 years of life, on some 20-year-old? That's his journey at 20. Let him be 20. Let him mess up. Let him do what he needs to do. Because my 20 got me to 30, got me to 40, got me to who I am today. And whatever we are in that moment, we're supposed to be. And it takes a lot of genuine trust and letting go. The freedom comes in letting go, right? Not being complacent, totally two different things. But I let go every day. This is what I've been given. This is what I'm blessed with. This is what I'm grateful for, right? So I have 30, 40 employees. But if a bunch are sick, I need to go into work and cover for them. I do it with a big smile. I'm grateful. I'm happy to go in and drive the after-school bus and pick up kids from their school and deliver them safely to our facility until the parent picks them up from work. I'm a parent. How wonderful is that, to be able to impact and help that parent who's busy working and know they have peace of mind? See, so it's not what you do, it's why. And mine is live your best life. That's what I do. So it doesn't matter what, it's why. And that why we hear a lot. Simon Sinek, everybody talks about the why. What is your why? What is your purpose? Right? And I remember a janitor in junior high school. He was the janitor. And sure, materialistic wise, everybody would say he's the freaking janitor. He was one of the best, most happiest people I knew. He pushed that broom around the hallways like he was king. He was the king of the world. And it's because he had mastered himself. It wasn't what he was doing, it's why he was doing it. And so that's what I think at the end of the day is what I'm most grateful for, is that I understand my why.
Yes. Yeah, we have to know our intention behind the action that we're taking. And that comes back with responsibility and knowing that every single action, brings a certain outcome and we are responsible for it. And being in the present moment, that's where power is. And with us trying to cultivate that type of mindset, that's the best investment that we can do, really.
I mean, all that matters is you right now. And it's a gift to me. We've never talked to each other, yet you and I talk like we've had this conversation a million times. And that's what makes life so amazing. And then once we get done with this, it's a memory. But it's a memory I can keep in my heart. The learning you offered me can go with me to help me impact fulfilling my why. Right? Or I can come on here and go, what can I say cool? Let me think about what I wrote in my book. Let me do this. That's so pretentious. You're a gift, Anna, and I'm so blessed to be able to embrace you completely and fully. But I can only do that by breathing in and breathing out and just letting go. Right? And that's what I think is the hardest thing for people to do, is when they come into situations, they have an agenda. What is my agenda? What do I get out of this? What's in it for me? What can I sell? What can I promote? What can I take? Oh, can I position myself so I look superior to Anna so people will think I'm cooler? All of that is such a waste of energy. Just be you, do you, and let it be. In the words of the Beatles, let it be. And it's hard to do that, right? It's hard to do that. But if we can, moments like this are in turn, through you and I being together right now, completely and fully, it might touch somebody and impact them and inspire them. That's not the intent, but if it does, how beautiful is that, right? How cool is that?
Must be great. Yes. And I'm so glad we had this conversation. For those who would like to connect with you, how they can find you?
Sure. There's a lot of ways. My podcast is called Success Never Sleeps and Mindful Meditations. So one is on meditation, ironically, because I love teaching meditation. That's on all the podcast platforms. You can follow me at Instagram. You can find me at Facebook, LinkedIn. My website is brannonbeliso.com. I have a best-selling book at Amazon called Live, Learn, Grow. It's also available on Audible, so you can listen to it as well. And I have a great children's book. So if you have children out there, called The Adventures of Bray and Tay, which immortalizes my kids at 3 and 6 years old. And it teaches them the life skill of focus, paying attention. So if you Google my name, you'll find tons of stuff. And YouTube, subscribe to my YouTube channel there as well.
And I'll include all of the show notes so people will be easy to find you. And I'm so grateful we had time today, and it was a pleasure meeting you. Thank you so much for your thoughts and wisdom, and I hope you enjoy your day. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you did, hit the subscribe button and share it with others. Stay tuned.